If your child is struggling in school or with friends, there is help. Tracy says that her son Nicholas's life changed after going to the Brain Balance Center. They're both with me now, along with the Carey Center Director, Dr. Rebecca Jackson. Thank you guys so much for joining me.
Thanks.
All right, Rebecca, first off, what is Brain Balance?
So Brain Balance is considered a brain-based approach rather than a symptom-based approach. So we work with kids that might struggle with distractibility, with how long it takes for them to do homework, and rather than treating the individual symptom, we're looking to see if there's a region of the child's brain that isn't functioning as strong or as accurately as it should, and then we work to build up that region of the brain to increase output and to reduce those symptoms.
And so, Tracy, what are some of the things that you started to notice in Nicholas that started to make you realize, I need to get help?
He was very disorganized in school, losing a lot of papers. Thought he was turning in work, but then found it later. So we really needed to get a lot of help with that because he wasn't getting credit where credit was due.
And this is different than just being a normal teenage boy, right? This is...
Oh, yes. I do have 3 children. I babysat for many years. I grew up around children. And this just kept sticking out and saying, this is something different, there's something more here, and there's got to be help for that.
Nicholas, what were you going through at the time?
I noticed that my reading was a lot slower than everyone else's, and I was a bit behind in my work, but I was getting it done. It was just all jumbled up, and I just wasn't organized.
Is it tough sitting in class, starting to lag behind all of your other classmates?
Yeah, it was pretty tough, because I was trying to jump ahead, and then I would just get all mixed up, so.
And so did it start to affect your grades?
Yeah, it probably. Yeah.
So Tracy, you said, I want to get help. I don't want to throw medicine at the problem. So enter Brain Balance. What differences have you noticed since he's gone to Brain Balance?
I'm not always reminding him of things anymore, which has been great. So, and the other night actually he said, I know where blah, blah, blah is. And I'm like, oh, and he goes, you gonna start crying? I'm like, I might, look away.
Those little things, right?
It was the little daily things, and it does accumulate, and I felt like every day I would have to remind him and be on top of him and be on target. And then, you know, starting middle school and high school, you're supposed to taper off, and I wasn't tapering off any, so that was very frustrating.
And what about you? After you go through the program, how's your life been now?
I feel more independent. Yeah, she doesn't have to remind me about too much stuff, so.
This is amazing. Dr. Jackson, how does the program work?
So Brain Balance is sort of like boot camp for the brain, where again, we're trying to change that output. So we don't want to change the output by having the child practice what they're deficient in. Nicholas is 14 years old. If years of reading was going to change it, that would have changed already. So we've got to go back in and wake up the regions of the brain for Nicholas that weren't functioning. So we do that through physical activities. Nicholas went through doing a lot of different eye exercises. We're utilizing and waking up every different region of his brain that we can all at the same time and trying to get his brain to really start to multitask. So Brain Balance works with kids for about 12 weeks as a starting point. Really, again, just waking up as many different regions of the brain as we can, doing physical activities, cognitive activities. But again, we're not a tutorial service. We're not trying to train what he's deficient in. We're trying to engage the weaker parts of the brain so that we change output.
So what should parents be looking for in their children to say, maybe we ought to call Brain Balance?
You know, distractibility is a huge component that teachers see in the classroom, parents see at home. Everybody's going to get distracted sometimes, but if it's a constant piece. Another big red flag is how long it takes for your child to do homework at the end of the night. Teachers are sending home a fair amount of homework these days. It shouldn't take 2 hours, 3 hours each night. So if homework is taking longer for your child, and again, there's a memory component involved with all of this. So you might have a sense that your child is really intelligent, but yet you're having to go over the same information over and over.
The other night you said, when I was asking you some questions, because specifically on reading, I can't answer that for him on the final, you know, how has he progressed since the beginning? And I said, okay, Nicholas, you got to answer these for me. So I said, Nicholas, how is your reading? And you said?
Yeah, it got a lot better. Like reading, my speed and everything and understanding it got a lot better. And not just after, but like during, while I was doing it, it was great.
And I would say to him, another question on the questionnaire is, do you find that you have to reread things over again? And he said, well, we are talking after Brain Balance, right? And I said, yes. And he said, not anymore.
See, it makes a big difference.
So
Thank you, man. Congratulations. That is great. If you think that you have a child who may benefit from the Brain Balance program, all you have to do is give them a call or schedule an appointment at either their Carey or Wake Forest location just by going to brainbalancecenters.com.